Here, kitty.
Compromise for me is about knowing your limitations and not being stalled by them. Some artists can just go. What they envision inside of their mind is ultimately what ends up on the canvas or the page. It's fluid and beautiful, and it works. But the rest of us have some limitations between what we can imagine and what we actually can do. And I think it's important to understand that you have to compromise between those two things. That being a perfectionist is something that a lot of people hold on to. In some cases, it can be a useful tool, but you have to recognize when it's not a tool, when it's actually inhibiting you from being productive. And I think ultimately with art, it's about being productive. And if every time you go to the page or pick up the brush, you're frustrated and it's not a pleasant experience, it's more incentive for you to quit. So I think it's important to understand what you can do versus what you imagine in your mind, and to allow the compromise between the two to be okay. There's no other way for me to say that. You just have to let it be okay. It doesn't mean that your limitation is where you have to sit forever, because practice makes perfect. And with art and being creative, the more you do it, the more it becomes easy and it becomes a part of you. So your limitations don't have to be something that stalls you, but they can be a stepping stone. If you continue to work through them and you continue to allow yourself to do what you can and understand that what your best is right now is good enough. You're not going to be stuck in what you're doing right now. Art always grows. I'll show you some stuff that I did when I was a lot younger. And my style back then and what it is now is totally different. My ability is different. The process of getting it out onto the page is different. But if you let your limitations stop you and don't understand that a compromise doesn't mean that you're not good enough, you can go far with your art and your creativity. You can eventually get there. You may get to what you see in your head, or you may just get to a place where you just love what you do. And ultimately, for me, loving what I do is more important than being perfect. So compromise is very fitting to be the first thing in this acronym. It's very important to me because it's one of the things that has really allowed me to grow within my own artwork. It's been a thought in my mind that has brought me back from being in a really stalled place. So I think it's important to share. And 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 and